Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Arknights reaction. So today we have kind of an interesting story that goes along with these two. So I'm going to be listening to both of these, but it was requested by a Luminary that I only listen to the one, maybe the other. But then it turned out the song they were going to have me initially react to is called Has Arrived. And I was like, okay, well, what does the other one translate to? And that's The End. So I was like, well, now I have to listen to both of them back to back, listening to them in order. So I'm going to be listening to The End, then Has Arrived, because like, as far as the naming convention goes, that's just asking for me to do both in one. So it wasn't initially the plan, but will be how we're doing it today. So without further ado, let's go. Ooh. That was weird. I heard like the white noise like click in. I don't think that was intentional. Somebody staggered their waveforms a little bit, I think. Maybe it was intentional though. It's neat having the like reverse piano in there as well. Those, the echoes. Yeah. This fits with the title of The End. ... It's so steady. But I can feel the swelling, like the song is taking a really deep breath. And I can't tell if it's gonna release it. I think that's what the next part's gonna be. Yeah, it's gotta be. Wow, okay. I'm definitely glad I listened to both at the same time then, because whatever's coming next is definitely going to be intriguing. But honestly, I don't know if I can say anything about this one individually, so I'm just going to jump into the second one right away, and I'm not going to discuss this one yet. Picking up roughly where we left off. Ooh. Already throwing in dissonance, like third note in. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. God, the sound design is really strong in this event. I was gonna say I didn't really feel anything arriving, but here we are. Something's here now. Ooh. And they brought vibes. Hey. Ooh. Oh! That's unfair. That was really cool, though. What a tease. This is insane. Those dissonant chords in there are nuts. But like, what that's telling me about this situation right now, I don't know if it's like a fight, probably. But those choices are doing a lot of heavy lifting. Woo. And we're back. I don't know, I feel like a boss theme shouldn't be this hype, but I've come to accept it at this point. Change it up a little bit. Dude, the support work on these, especially this one, the last one was really cool for its own reasons, but this one just went off. Oh man, this is definitely going to be worth a good discussion here. All right, so I'll talk about this in order because like I said, it all kind of flows into the second one, so it makes sense to just talk about it in the order I listen to them. So starting with the end, that's really neat, the way that this song has like swelled the entirety of it, like all 2 minutes of it is just one big swell. There are echoes that are in reverse and it's already kind of signaling to the listener that something's not quite right here, something is happening. And it's like very drab in a way, like not in like a negative like clothing way, like a style way. It's, well, kind of, it's just pulling you down. It's really just dragging you with it, but also it's preparing you for something. It's this swell of anxiety and you're not quite sure what's on the horizon, what's going to be happening. You can just sense that something's off. I talk about that a lot, especially in sound design, because that's usually where those details are hidden a lot of the time, especially for these games. But the other song definitely gets more into that, so we will cover that much deeper. But this one, just as an introduction, it already kind of makes you go, wait a minute. There's something here, and there's a sense of weight to this first song that makes you feel like there's definitely something of scale ready to show up. You're just not entirely sure what. And I don't know if you're supposed to know yet. Like, I don't know if this is a song that would play in like the hallway knowing you're about to walk into a boss battle, so to speak. Or if it's something where one comes out of nowhere and you're not entirely sure what's about to show up. So there's this ambiguous feeling of something larger than life and definitely could kick your ass about to show up. I don't know if this is a boss theme. I just feel like it's something very similar, if not one. Like, I can tell it's something large. Usually bosses are, so that's probably what's giving me that vibe. But just the ambiguity of this song, not really letting you in on that secret quite yet. It's still withholding something from you, and through this entire first song you're just kind of left wondering what that may be. Like, there is no clear idea quite yet what's beyond that big double door that I assume is probably going to be there given the scale of this song, just kind of taunting you as you're walking up to it. This definitely feels like something that's a lot more Dark Souls-y than the usual stuff, at least as far as this song goes, with how it's building up that tension. It's not quite as cinematic, it's just a slightly different vibe there, but the scale is still very similar, where you feel like something is about to be there in front of you and you are going to have to fight for your life to stay alive. And then the second song comes in, which is so much more all at once. Like, immediately it picks back up roughly from where the last song had kind of died out and faded, and that's just for transitional sake, I'm sure. But then when it starts in with like the choir, you're like, oh no. It's something so large and imposing that there is a choir at its will, you know, like at its beck and call, chanting its praise effectively, like announcing its presence, which is never a good sign in any video game when there's a choir announcing the villain's presence, because they have enough influence to be able to pull something like that off, and now you have to deal with it as the player. So that's really neat. But then when the song picks up and kicks in, it changed my expectations entirely. I was expecting something much more cinematic, Dark Souls approach with like some maybe electronic vibe stuff in there, because Arknights loves doing that with their general sound design. But then it did that with a completely different vibe in the music altogether. So I was left surprised by the direction the song took, going for this more like kind of electro beat heavy sort of approach, but then also still having all of that sound design stuff in there. These like synths that were just dancing around and constantly in there, these piano hits that were just literal just chords going at seemingly nonsensical intervals. Like, they were roughly within the same key, but they were purposefully dissonant, and there was seemingly no sense to them other than just being in the rough scale and being in the general wheelhouse of the rest of the song. So them just going for these random like detail works and the sound design side of that, like the ways that they were handling it, they were moving it around and they weren't keeping it in the same place either. Like through the sound, it was moving around like the two ears. It wasn't going like exactly between the right and left or anything, but what it was doing was kind of shifting around in the music. It was never really happening in the same place twice, even if it was the same general like dissonant scale, just somebody sloppily smacking on the keyboard and just making noise. They would place that further in the back at some points and then brought it up closer at other points. So that gives you this sense of something constantly coming at you and backing off. And that could be the weapon that you're fighting against. It could symbolize something like that. It could just be the general vibe of the boss as a whole. Maybe there's somebody who likes to hide in the shadows and stay back a little bit and kind of keep coming at you in like waves of sorts. But this was really neat for that reason. Like, the sound design recently, especially from Arknights, has been so nuts with that. Just being so careful about where they place stuff. Whoever they're hiring for these, I haven't looked up who the composers are for these ones, but whoever handled these knows exactly how to play with people's minds. And the psychological knuckle duster that can be sound designed if you use it properly, this composer handled it so well. So it makes me wonder who it is. I might actually check real quick. So apparently the composer was秋田Masanori, who's worked on like some of the Castlevania games, just the more recent ones. Oh, if you call the mid 2000s recent, but point aside, worked with some of that, Catherine Full Body, like the Final Fantasy VII remake. So clearly somebody who understands what psychologically music can do to you, because all of those games have a lot of that. The way that all of those games individually mess with the psychology aspects of music are very obvious if you've ever heard any of their soundtracks. So it's not really a surprise here at this point. So getting a composer like秋田Masanori, that's a great idea. Getting somebody who has experience in that field to play with the listener and kind of mess with their head a little bit, scramble their brains up and make them figure it out later. That's a really neat approach. And also just something I personally and genuinely adore in all of music, as I'm sure anybody who's watched my channel for any length of time has come to know. I love sound design stuff. I love that it plays with the emotions of the listener and the player and just makes you really figure it out as things go. And it makes you think even more deeply about the game's story, and you kind of have to, in a way that they force you into it. And that's why I love that they use people like秋田Masanori, because people who have experience know exactly what to hit. And that's the most important part. You have to get people who understand that psychological pressure that music can apply, and how to do it well is very difficult. And some people have managed, a lot of people in the scene on music in these games have managed, but not all of them have done it as well as this one, just for those tiny details in the song, just for those synths that are bouncing around and things like seemingly random keyboard bashes as the song goes on in random places, just never letting you settle down, never letting that anxiety resolve. You just have to be in the space of constant anxiety and figure out why you're there and why it may be relevant to the story, which is all stuff that plays to the player trying to figure this shit out and being stressed constantly, and it can make the fight even harder. Sometimes it might even make it a little bit easier depending on how you approach it. So psychology in music is huge. I love that aspect of music, and Akita did it great here. So fantastic work, great songs. I can't wait to hear more from this event. From what I've seen of the upload, at least this is a very recent event. So if you have anything else you want me to get to from this one or any other songs from Arknights, of course, leave them in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Otherwise, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future, you know how to do all that. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!